Hi guys, this is Vineet, and in today's video we will discuss about how you can take full database backups inside SQL Server. Before we proceed ahead, I would request you guys to please go ahead and subscribe to my channel by hitting on the subscribe button coming at the bottom of this video. And once you hit the subscribe button, please click on the bell icon and select the all option to get all the notifications regarding all my future videos. And let's go. So let's see what we can do. So we need to open up SQL Server Management Studio. So these will be a series of demos where I will show you how you can take full database backup. So what I've done is I've just launched the SQL Server Management Studio and waiting for it to open. So it's under the SMSS command which is invoked, so it will come up in a while. I will get back to you once it opens. So guys, SQL Server is about to open up. I'm waiting for UI to get launched. So once the UI is launched, connect to the instance of the SQL Server you are working with. So we are working with default instance here, so I'm connecting to it. So here you need to expand the databases section, which will show you the list of the databases. So under this list you see a series of databases starting with Northwind, ending with worldwide importers or wide world importers TW database. So whichever database you want to backup. So first of all, let me check the size for the Northwind if we want to backup the Northwind database. So we use the SP space use procedure to check the size. So this is of 80 MB. So basically the step to backup a database is to right click on the database you want to backup. We need to point to task and select the backup option. And in this dialog box, the database you selected appears in the drop down list. You can select a different database from here as well. We can change to any other database from this list. And in the backup type drop down list, it is showing us full database backup, which is what we want to take. So full backup is the default backup option, and the recommendation is to for us is to perform at least one full database backup before we perform any differential or transaction log backups. And under the backup component section, we need to select the database we want to backup, and there's a destination section where we specify whether we want to backup the file to the disk or to Azure Blob storage using the URL option. So we are backing up to disk. And we can hit on the so by default it is backing up these files here under this section, under this path as northwind.bak. We can remove this and add our own path through this. And we can also stripe the backup set across multiple files for increased backup speed. So for that you need to add multiple files where you want to take backup. So we can stripe, striping option is available here where we can add multiple paths. So if we want to break the file into 5 files, we can do that here by adding 5 paths over here. Basically that is called striping the backup, and basically it increases the backup speed if we are taking a backup into multiple files. And to remove the backup destination, we can simply hit remove, and to view the contents of the existing backup destination, you can click on contents. So it shows you where it will store and all the items. So it gives little details about the content details basically. It basically shows the content of an existing backup destination, and we can also review the other available settings under the media options given on the left hand side. We will discuss about them later, and we just need to hit OK to start the backup. But right now we are stopping here. We will go through some examples here. So we will create a test DB. We are not taking a backup of the Northwind database. I was just telling how you can take backups. You need to configure these options and hit OK to take the backup. And once the backup completes successfully, we can use OK button to close the SQL Server Management Studio dialog box. And let's talk about some additional information. So once you create a full database backup, you can create a differential database backup or a transaction log backup as well. And there is also an option for not properties. I need to go to backup. So tasks, backup. So if you take a look here is a checkbox available for copy only backup. So this if this checkbox is checked, this will create a copy only backup. So what is a copy only backup? A copy only backup is a SQL Server backup that is independent of the sequence of conventional SQL Server backups. It's just like we are making a copy of that file, and it is independent of the full backup or differential backups we are taking in the system. We will talk about that later. And the copy only backups is not available for differential backup type option. It's only available for full backup type option. And there is also an option to overwrite media. So under media options, you will see there is an option to overwrite all existing backup sets, and this option is not available if we are taking backup to the Azure Blob Storage using the URL option. Alright, so let's work on some examples. Let's create a test DB. So I'm writing some TSQL to create a test DB, so you may follow along with me if you like. So to create a database, use the create database statement. I'm creating a test DB, and after that I'm going ahead and using the test DB because I want to create a table under that. So let me execute this statement first so that test DB should get created. I'm using test DB, so that test DB should come here. We are done till this point, and now we are creating a table using the create table statement. We are mentioning it as test table, starting bracket, closing bracket, put the code inside. So first column we are taking is ID, which is integer type, and it is not taking null, and it's a primary key column. Second column we are taking is name. Alright, and name will be a varchar. We can take 50 characters, variable characters, and this also doesn't take null. And third column is I'm taking birth date, and I'm taking this as date time data type, and it does not accept nulls, and if value is not provided, it defaults to the system date time, which will be the time at when the row will get inserted in the table. It takes that time. So yeah, the table, let's create it quickly. So this table is created, and now we want to insert certain rows into this table. So type these statements. Insert into, we need to type the table name, which is a test table, and we need to specify the columns. So here we are specifying only the two columns which are ID and name. Third column we are not passing any value, so it will take the default date time, current system date time you can say. And then you need to specify values for these two columns. So I'm putting it one for the ID, test one for the name column, and I'm copying these rows around 5 times, and I'm modifying the values I'm inserting into a table. Let's make it test2, test3, test4 and test5. Let's execute these statements to insert the data into a table. So 5 rows are inserted. Now we can select the data from the table. So table name is test table. I can select data from there. So 5 rows are inserted over here. Let us save this script as well. Test table and test tv. Let me save it with that. So yeah, our test table is created, which will come over here if we refresh on the databases. It's over there, and under that there are tables. So there's a test table. You can select top 1000 rows. It will show you all the rows inside it. So we created a database and a test table with some rows into it. Now what we will do, we will take a full backup of this testdb. So what we need to do, we need to right click on that database, go to tasks, here that task option, you need to select backup option. So once you are inside this dialog box, you can configure the options. It will take backup at this location. It is taking full backup. So what we are doing is we are just hitting OK. So this is a full backup to a default location, which is this one. This is the default location for backup. So here we are telling you how you can take a backup to a default location, or basically to take how to take full backup to a default location. If you want to take backup to a non-default location, what you can do, you can remove this path. So for now, let's remove this path and do an add and specify the location where we want to take backup. So let's create a folder. I'm creating a folder on C drives with the name backups, maybe SQL backups. Let's create a folder. Alright, so I will store my backup here. What if I want to store my backup here? What I will do, I will click on this button and I need to scroll up. Give me a second, guys. Alright guys, I'm back. So what we need to do is we need to select a SQL backups folder, and we need to type a backup file name. So I'm typing testdb.bak. I'm taking as I just need to mention the name of the file. Take it as backup file. So we are taking backup under C drive SQL backups. So this is a backup to non-default location. So I'm clicking on OK to take the backup. So now the backup is completed successfully, and you can check this location here at files. Okay, you need to specify the extension as well, as it has not taken the extension along with that. So you need to specify the extension name as well while mentioning the file name. Now what we will do, we will tell you how you can take the encrypted backups. So we are going through another example. So you need to first specify which database you want to take backup for. So here we are taking encrypted backup of the testdb database. So in order to create a test database, first what you need to do is you need to run a query. You need to create a master key and a certificate with a master database. So the master database from here. All right, and so first what we are doing, first we are creating a master key. So type the following command: create master key, and we need to specify how we are encrypting it. We are encrypting it with a password. So we are specifying certain password. So for now, I'm just mentioning secret pass as the passphrase, secret password as the passphrase. Alright, and alright, you can specify a complex phrase for password. And if the master key already exists, so here we are creating a master key where it does not already exist. So if it already exists, we can open a master key. So first let's create this master key. So I'm executing this statement. It's completed successfully. Master key is created. So now we have to create a certificate. So in order to create a certificate, so in order to create a certificate, we need to open master key in the same session where we are creating the certificate. Alright. Creating certificate on. So let's type in the code to open up this master key which we have just created. So in order to open the master key, just type open master key, and we need to first in the first command we specify encryption by password. Here you need to specify decryption by password. You need to specify the password which we had given earlier. So we can copy that. Now just execute this statement. This will open up the master key. So master key is open. Now what we will do, we will create a certificate which is encrypted by the master key. So in order to create a certificate, type create certificate and type the name of the certificate. Okay, I'm taking it as my cert, and we need to specify the subject of the certificate. We need to specify we can specify whatever we are using the certificate for. So we can specify backup certificate. Subject of the certificate is backup certificate, and we need to specify the expiry date for the certificate. So specify expiry date, which should be separated by underscore, and then we need to specify when will this certificate expire. So I'm keeping this expiry date as 2031, 10-year certificate, or maybe 2023 I'm specifying. It's November, so let's check 31st November it will expire. So this will create a certificate for an year. So you can execute this statement. This will create a certificate. So this is an invalid date time. So the colons are not accepted. So you need to remove that. And now let's create the certificate. So not sure why it's not taking up the date. Okay, let's remove this 0 and see if it works. Not sure why it's not taking up the date. Let me check on this. So guys, I'm back. The date time is invalid in the sense that there are no 31 days in September. So yeah, we need to take it till 30th September, which I think is good, and it will create the certificate. So yeah, certificate is pretty now with the 30th September 2003 as the expiry date, and we will use this certificate for doing backups. So now certificate is created, and let's take a backup for testing. So go to database, right click on it, go to task and do a backup. And on the media options page, first go to media options page, and there's an overwrite media section. So here we are selecting backup to the, instead of backing up to the existing media set, we are backing up to a new media set, and we want to back up to a new media set, and we will erase all the existing backup sets. Alright, and we need to specify the name of the new media set. Alright, on the backup options page, so first after selecting this option, go to the backup options page, and there's an encryption section for that. You can encrypt the backup. You can specify the algorithm for encryption. Various algorithms are there, 128-bit encryption, whatever encryption you want to choose, you can choose it here. So we are choosing AES 128, and this is a certificate that we have just created. So you need to select certificate here. So what we have done is, under media option, we have just selected this new option without specifying any names and etc. And on the backup options, we have selected to encrypt the backup using the AES 128-bit encryption using the MyCert certificate. Now let's back this up. The name of the backup set will be testdb full database backup. Let's see where it gets created. I hope it gets created under the SQL backup folder, but let's check out. So let's do OK. So it's created with testdb. This is the one created right now. Let's remove the old backup, or we can rename this file. We can rename it as testdb new, not backup file. Alright, so we have this backup is encrypted. So we have just shown you the way how you can create an encrypted backup. So first you need to create a master key, then you need to open that master key, then you need to create a certificate under the same session where you have opened the master key. So a certificate gets created, you need to provide the certificate which you are using to encrypt the backup while taking the backup under the backup options. Alright, so if we talk about this database file, db new back, this is an encrypted database backup. Alright, so far we have shown you how you can create a full database backup using the UI, and how to take encrypted backups using the UI. Now what we will do, we will show you how you can take database backups using the tsql commands. So let's see how much we have recorded. It's almost like 25 minutes. Let me see if I can quickly cover tsql commands over here as well. So let's do that quickly, so the video will reach around 30 minutes. Alright, so how you can back up to a disk device using the tsql commands. So what you need to do in order to backup a database, you need to issue a backup database command. You need to specify the name of the database, which is testdb in our case, and we are taking it to disk, so you need to specify the location of the backup you are taking. So we are taking it on the SQL backups, so specify SQL backups on C drive, and you need to specify the name of the backup file. So I'm specifying testdb backup using tsql code backup. I'm taking that name, and you need to specify the with format option. We'll talk about these later. And media name, need to specify what's the name of this media name. So I'm specifying it as SQL Server Backup. And we need to specify the name of the backup as well. So this is media name, this is the backup name. So backup name should be, let's say it's full backup of testdb database. Alright, so yeah, command is specified. Let's execute this statement. I hope they are fine. Yep, let's execute them. So there is an incorrect syntax, so comma should be provided here. So now it's fine. Let's execute. So it is saying that it is not able to open a backup device, showing operating system error. And so let's see what's wrong with this. So it's the backups folder. Let's execute it. Alright, so it's saying that it has processed so many pages for testdb, 2 pages for database, this log file. So total of 362 pages are backed up on this location. So this is the full database backup over here. Alright, so we have just shown you how you can take a backup of a database using the tsql code. So this is the name of the file that got generated here, and this is the media name, this is the name of the database backup. So we are done how you can create the database backup using tsql. PowerShell can also be used to take backup. So there's a commandlet in PowerShell. So the commandlet name is backup SQL database commandlet. To indicate the full database backup action, we need to use the switch backup action parameter with its default value database, and the parameter is optional for the full database backups. So this requires SQL Server module if we want to take the backup through PowerShell command. So let's see if that module is there. So let me see if I can open PowerShell quickly. So this is PowerShell. Right click on it, run it as administrator. So let's open it. Now inside the PowerShell, let's wait for it to load. Not opening up, taking time. Let me try to open it. Let's see how minutes of recording is done. So yeah, almost like guys 30 minutes of recording is done. Let's keep this to our next video. So in our next video we will talk about how you can take backup using the PowerShell commandlets. So stay in tune. Please subscribe to my channel, hit on the bell icon, select all notifications to get notifications regarding my future videos, and there will be an upcoming video on how you can take backups using PowerShell. So stay in touch, and I thank you guys once again for your time on this video today. And please do share this video with your friends in case you find this video is useful for them as well. So thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye bye.